Oh, yes, it's a beautiful day. Welcome into the Sports Edge, powered by Inspin.com. And Inspin.com's great network of handicappers. We've got some great stuff for you today, as always. Golf action, college football, not talking about my Michigan Wolverines losing the Spartans. And, of course, the NFL. Let's welcome in the crew of sycophants. Sealy McNeely, good day, sir.
Oh, good day to you, too. How are you? I want to talk about Michigan. I like to talk about Michigan.
All right, we'll talk about it soon. We'll talk about Eastern Michigan, too. Sideburns, good to see you.
Good to see you, Dan.
All right, that was a real emotional welcome. You guys are bringing the energy today. I know Jamie won't let me down. Jamie, you got an additional TV today. You got
How are you, babies?
I like that.
Oh, good, buddy. Oh, good.
To all of you, we got a lot to get to. We'll get back with CEO, Mr. Personality, and Sideburns, double Mr. Personality, in a second. But, Jamie, let's start with you. And, by the way, our fearless leader, Starsky, is on assignment, tending to some sheep in New Zealand. He should be back soon. He does a lot of stuff with the animals, Jamie, so hopefully we'll see Starsky soon, but he sends his love.
Yeah, no, I think he's heading over there to try and bring us some sheep back for the rescue center. We shall see what happens.
Yeah, listen, there's freaking there's sloths there. There's zebras and all these cool little animals. Please check out Costa Rica Rescue Center if you can, because they always can use donations, and the animals are the best. Jamie, let's get into some golf action, and we're not getting to like the heart of the season or anything, but we're getting to some interesting tournaments before the end of the year. And the Mayakoba in Mexico, we talked about this a lot over the last year, that yes, it's great to bet the Masters and the US Open and the Players and all these huge tournaments, the Memorial Jacks tournament, but there's so much value in betting. And this isn't a smaller tournament. It's a big field. You got the Fowlers and the Victor Hovlands and the Matthew Wolfs, and you got some good players in this tournament. But there is so much value betting some of these late year tournaments now that the PGA is like 50 weeks of the year for their season, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you sort of look at these events, and what I'll always sort of do is look at the top of the leaderboard of the betting market and have a look at the favorites and think to myself, well, why is he here? The prime example was I just saw an interview with Brooks Koepka there. Shot even par today, is plenty off the lead, and he's just coming out just to try and find something. I mean, Justin Thomas, I'd kind of say the same. I mean, he's got Jim Mackay on the bag there. I think all he's kind of looking for is just some more holes with him, so he can get more comfortable with his caddy when we come into the sort of April and for the Masters and the USPGA and the Players Championship. Yeah, but looking at this event this week, it was you kind of look into the winners from before. It's always going to be around -20, something like that. So I mean, it's a short course. A lot of these courses right now with Bermuda, this one, and in a couple of weeks the RSM, they're all coastal short courses. So a lot of this form that we see is going to sort of carry on through those events. We had 5 guys this week who we kind of put up. The top one was Billy Horschel, which we kind of got a really good price on Billy Horschel, which I was surprised about because he just went over in the UK, won the BMW Championship over there. He's come 5th and 8th in this event in the last couple of years, 7th and 6th in the Sony and the Zozo lately as well, also sub 7,100 yard courses. So for a guy with that record, and I think we picked up around sort of 35-40 to 1, I was really happy to get Billy Horschel on side. One of the other guys as well, sort of further on down the betting, Joel Damon. Remember, sort of last year he won the Corrales event over in the Dominican Republic, also on the Paspalum Greens that we have here. 20th and 6th the last couple of years over here. 4 top 20s in these last 8 events on courses 7,100 yards or shorter. So we know he can definitely play around here, and you're picking up around 100 to 1 for him. I threw in some top 5 and top 10 as well on Joel Damon. Especially, I mean, you can look further down the betting market when you think or you believe there's alternative motives as to why some of the favourites are actually here. Patrick Reed was up there as well in the betting. I know he came second at the Bermuda last week, but that was basically just all part of a 600 round 4, a real week event. I mean, this event is is significantly better in quality than the Bermuda. Russell Knox as well was a guy who we put up, came 12th last week in the Bermuda. And you sort of look at that and you think to yourself, well, that's nothing special. But you sort of think to yourself, well, he came from the wrong side of the draw last week. He was one of the round one morning players. And that round one, that morning, that weather in round one in the morning was real tough. So what I've done there, and I'll keep a notes of all of these things as well. There you'll see in the spreadsheet that I've put a little asterisk next to every player from the Bermuda who started in round one in the morning. So you can if it was a top finish that he got, it was actually probably a lot better than what it was. And there's sort of excuses there for the guys who didn't play well that week. So yeah, one of the one matchup that I really liked this week was Emiliano Grillo to beat Brian Harmon. Further on down the page there, Dan, if you scroll down, of Grillo, we all know about Emiliano Grillo. Can't putt for anything, but his record in these courses around here significantly better than Harmon's. So we were on Emiliano Grillo. I saw Harmon was a couple over par and Grillo was about 4 under. So that's looking good right now. And yeah, I mean, Matthew Wolff, came second in the Shriners. We were on him that week. Hasn't played since then, I don't believe. It doesn't really fit the identikit of players who have sort of won around here before. You got your Kuchers, your Brendan Todds, typically your shorter hitters or very straight hitters. With Matthew Wolff, I think he was, obviously -10. He's firing on all cylinders today, but I'm sure there's going to be a round in there somewhere where he gets a little bit wayward and sort of comes back a little bit.
Yeah, and taking a look at the leaderboard, I mean, you mentioned, the reasoning for guys like a Dahmen or a Horschel. I mean, Horschel right now had a great round. He was 7 under, shot a 64, and I know he went out earlier, so he'll be in the afternoon tomorrow. And Dahmen's right there. He's tied for 7th. He's 6 under. And back to the Wolff thing, and you mentioned some of these other names, and Koepka's one of them. And obviously, there are some guys, some bigger names, much better overall quality this week than the Bermuda, tournament. And I mentioned guys like Hovland and Rose and some others. Abraham Answer's playing in this one, of course, from Mexico. Same with Carlos Ortiz. These are the kind of tournaments, and I think you brought up a good point about what their motives are. It's not, obviously, the bigger players aren't going there to not play well, but a lot of times it seems like these earlier tournaments are not really won by the top tier. They're won by guys like Dahmen. They're won by guys, like Billy Horschel, who's a really good player, but he's not a top 10 player. That's where I think you get tremendous amounts of value. And you mentioned, I think people need to understand top 5 betting, top 10 betting. That really kind of hedges your bet. Let's say, Dahmen finishes tied for 2nd. You don't get your outright and you don't have a cash out option like I do here in the States, in certain states that are legal for gambling. But you still can win and profit on a top 5 or a top 10. I think that's all really important that we've discussed as we've gone throughout the show with your golf stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you get one of those guys. I mean, the perfect example, wasn't it, was Sebastian Munoz over in the Zozo a couple of weeks ago. A top 10, you get plus 750 on him. The winner, Hideki, won at 11 to 1. So I'd take the plus 750 for 10 spots all day long over a guy who has to win outright. So yeah, I mean, those are the bets that'll keep you in profit over the season and just ticks along, when you shouldn't be, when you're out of the contention to actually win the event. If you can get a backdoor top 10 or something like that. I mean, we were 1 spot out again last week with Graham McDowell. So I think we've had 3 or 4 top 10 bets. One of them was a winner at plus 750, and a few others were like 11th and 12th. But again, I mean, 4 bets and 1 plus 750 winner, you're still ahead. So that's all it's about. It's about just keeping ahead, managing your bankroll, and after you do have some wins or whatever, just keeping it the same and pushing the bets where you think you perceive it to be value. I mean, like I said, Billy Horschel, we got a fantastic price on Billy Horschel compared to what I was seeing, what the other bookmakers were doing. So you can kind of push that a bit because it's obvious value. If you keep on betting value, you're gonna be successful at the end. You're gonna be positive. So there are times where you can push your bet a little bit more. Like I said, when you are getting the value, rather than having a big all-in bet on Justin Thomas at 10-1 or whatever it is, where there's plenty of reasons there where you can think, well, maybe he's not going to bring his A game this week.
Yep, Jamie, great stuff as always. And check out Jamie's site. It's right there on the screen, scratchteddy.com. He's got all the different things, all the different matchups, and all the recent course form and stuff that really helps you profit. And Jamie, you just keep killing it. We'll keep checking in over the next few days to see what you do there. We'll get back with you in a minute. Let's get back to our man, Sealy McNeely, who is really, really excited because from what you told me, you have figured out that Pennsylvania is the best state to live in the union right now. A lot of culture wars, great schooling. It's close to Virginia. So I guess that's where you want to live right now.
I'd rather live in Florida.
Florida's a messed up state. All right. I want to throw up your site, sportshandicapper.com. I have a couple of friends who live in Florida. That place sucks. But, Sealy, let's talk about you being the king of the MAC, both self-proclaimed and actual. Yet another winner last night, Kent State first half. Kind of got screwed up by Miami of Ohio a couple nights ago. It doesn't matter because Eastern Michigan Eagles won outright. I think that this is another important thing, much like when we talked to Jamie about getting value and not just betting to bet and understanding why you're doing certain things that, of course, I wanted to mention this again with Jamie, up almost 100 units so far in golf, which is incredible. And with you, it's the same thing. Yes, there are a ton of college games to bet on every week. It doesn't mean you bet like 15 games. You focus in. I know the MAC's one of your main conferences, and I think that there's a reason you're so successful because you're not trying to do too much. You're not trying to do like 6, 7, 8 conferences. You're focusing on the MAC and some other stuff, and you've been very, 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 very highly successful with Mid-American Conference plays. Explain what that has been like for you going back years where you've always kind of zeroed in on the MAC.
Well, first of all, there's 130 teams in Division I football now. And there's more coming, by the way. James Madison's coming in. Sam Houston's coming in. President. And there's another one. James Madison, Sam Houston. I think I'm missing one. They're coming up.
Well, UAB almost left, but UAB came back.
Yeah, well, it came back. No, it's easier to keep an eye on 6, 7 conferences. You don't want to do the whole college football slate. There's just too many teams. Too many teams to cover. I'd rather watch the games that nobody really watches on ESPN3. They call it ESPN Plus now because most people aren't paying attention to those games, and you get a little more value than betting Alabama, LSU, if you ask me, every week.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, listen, we say this all the time. There's nothing wrong. Like, I'm a Michigan fan. If Michigan's playing, against Michigan State, I of course I was at that game and I liked Michigan to win it, and they screwed me again under Harbaugh. But it's not like we're saying don't bet that game. If you want to have fun and put a little money on a game, that's fine. But if you want to profit, if you want to, like you have for so many years, Seal, be profitable and make a lot of money, and you do it as obviously a professional gambler, but you don't have to be a professional gambler if you're watching this show. We just want you to win. And that's what we do here on the Sports Edge and InSpin and Sports Handicapper and handicapper911.com and scratchcaddy.com, giving you the tools to have the advantage that most people don't. And a lot of times the research is already done for you. But when you look at it, like the Mid-American Conference is a great example. I went to Eastern Michigan. I called games with Charlie Batch as the quarterback and Walt Church and Jermaine Sheffield. Ben Roethlisberger came out of the MAC. Randy Moss came out of the MAC. There's obviously talent there. And there's some great games to be able to zero in on and gain a tremendous amount of value line-wise. I think a lot of people don't look at the MAC or the Sun Belt, the Fun Belt, or other conferences and say, oh, wow, why am I going to bet a game there? Most times, I will say, the majority of the time, Seal, I think there's better value in those games than there are in the Tennessee, Georgias, or the Florida, Alabamas, or whatever.
No, absolutely. For instance, like this week, it took most people 2 or 3 days this week to even realize that the quarterback for Middle Tennessee State is probably not going to play. Or there's another game with the quarterback for Charlotte. I mean, they don't know. They don't really follow that stuff. Now, if Alabama's quarterback's out this week, do you think nobody would know? It would be all over ESPN.
The whole world would know.
The whole world will know. That's why, people don't know. People they don't follow the bottom tier teams. So there's less coverage. So there's more information that's kind of better if you can find it.
Yep. Well, let's
The
talk.
big difference. I mean, the line came up on Western Kentucky on Sunday night and Monday, and they had no idea Middle Tennessee State quarterback, who's the second quarterback already. The first guy left. He quit playing football about 4 weeks ago. They finally figured out today that the guy's probably not going to play. That's just the way it is, and that's why
that's a huge advantage. It's like, all right, for example, obviously this ended up being a loser, but the Monday night game with Dallas and Minnesota, Dak was officially listed as out. At one point, Dallas was a 2.5-point favorite. It closed Minnesota minus 4.5. Of course, Dallas ended up winning. I hated that game anyway, no matter who was playing. But those are imagine getting a team that originally was minus 2.5 or plus 2.5. Then you're getting them plus 4.5. Like in a lot of situations with information, you're going to win that game 80+% of the time. If a team, like the Kansas City Green Bay game, if you took Kansas City minus 1.5 and now there's no Aaron Rodgers, obviously it's a COVID thing. It's a little different. But my point is, imagine having a game minus 1.5 instead of minus 7.5. It's huge, Seal. And in college football, based on information, there's a lot of times that can happen in these smaller schools because everyone's focused on Alabama or USC or Michigan State or whatever.
No, exactly right. Now, another thing, like another college football game this week, that Don Best, which everybody that bets has, they don't even know that the quarterback for Louisiana Tech is probably out. They don't even know when it's Thursday. It's not even listed.
That's pretty crazy.
It's bizarre. I mean, I bet a peanut on under in the game because I don't like the backup quarterback, but they don't even know. And then they'll probably find out tomorrow, and they'll put a note out, and the game will go to like 48 total. I went under 50. But it's just amazing. They just don't care.
Well, that's why we love you, Steve McNeely. Give the peeps out there a couple nibbles college football wise. Anything tonight or tomorrow, or we're gonna look at Saturday?
Yeah, tonight I respect the people that bet over tonight in the Lafayette Georgia State game. I personally am not involved. I don't like the game, but there is sharp money on over 53, I believe.
Yeah, it's up to 53.5 right now.
That's a pass for me. I'll throw out a game on Saturday. It takes big kahunas to bet this team. Nobody will ever bet this team. I'm going with the Aggies, New Mexico State, plus 18.5.
You love teams. What is up with you in loving teams for New Mexico this year?
I just I love the area. Not that I've ever been there. Joe Biden drove through there once, though, on the way.
All right, sounds great. We're not talking about that. All right, so you're taking what did you take on New Mexico State? It's down. It's 18.5 right now.
I have not bet it. I have not bet it yet because it's on nothing to go up. But at some point, I will be involved on the Aggies on New Mexico State plus the big number at home.
All right, I love it. Good stuff from Sealy McNeely.
I'll throw you an NBA prop out tonight.
NBA props. I love NBA props.
I'm going to throw one out to you tonight. I am going with Russell Westbrook over 20.5 points tonight. No LeBron. His usage will be way up. The only problem with betting over 20.5 with Russell Westbrook is they are playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, and if it's a blowout, you won't see him in the fourth quarter. But without LeBron, hopefully...
Yeah, but it's his old team. He's going to want to be there as long as he can.
Oh, I know he wants to be there because he didn't like the way the last game ended. And I bet over 40.5 rebounds, points, and assists.
Yep, I like it. By the way, the NBA, the Lakers right now, very weird team so far this season. Steely, great stuff by you. Let's bring in Sideburns. Hey, Handicapper 911's finest, Sideburns.
Dan the man, how you doing, buddy?
Fine day.
I'm doing great.
Doing great. And listen, I want to talk to you before we get into our NFL picks about the process for the NFL for you. And maybe we could throw a game out there for the people. But of course, people can go. I'm going to throw your site up here, Handicapper 911. I know that you're almost as good as the Squatch. You're getting there. No, you've been killing it, and I think that it's important that people understand, once again, that we're not just telling you to sign up for these sites because we're touting 15-1 the last 2 weeks. There's going to be times you lose, but consistently you're going to win. And Sideburns, Kev, you've been doing this for a long time. Tell people again about your process of what you go through to pick your NFL games.
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time, and we use computer numbers, obviously, but we use information. And I personally talk to a lot of different handicappers, like sharp guys that are actually betting big money. Not these guys that are on site saying like, oh, bet this, bet that. This is my 5-star play of the week and all that nonsense. I'm in touch with a lot of sharp people in the industry, which helps when you're going to narrow down a play that you're going to go out on and release to my customers. They're only getting the best of the best.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing, because I think a lot of people just get, like we're talking to Seal, a lot of people get kind of tied up with trying to bet like these, big nationally televised games when there's obviously there's less NFL games, but it might be a game involving the Jaguars or, involving the Titans or involving, Atlanta Falcons and, the Giants. And sometimes you're staying away from the bigger games because there's more value in those games.
That's true. I listened to what you and Seal were talking about, and he's right on about, injuries that with smaller schools, they're less likely to come out. I heard you mention that about like the Alabama quarterback was out, or Aaron Rodgers was out this week. Everybody knew about it, and the game moved 6.5 points,
Right. Let's give the people a nibble if we can from the NFL slate. What are you looking at for Sunday? And I wanted to ask you this too. When it comes to making picks and deciding who you want, are you someone that likes to do it early in the week? Obviously, it's all based on situations, but do you like doing it early in the week or waiting until towards game day? Obviously, based on what's going on.
Most of the plays come before game day. Last week we had Minnesota +2 was out on the site, and the Colts at a pick was out on the site. They both moved, ridiculously, and they both lost. But the value was there, and it always will be there when we release a play. You'll always have the best of the number. There's certain games that I want to wait on. I'm looking at something with the Dolphins game. It's going the other way, so I think I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to put out a play, but I'm waiting on this one too because I think the dog might get a little bit of money, but I am going to have a play on Baltimore. I just want to see where it's going to end up going. If I have to lay 6, I'll lay 6, but I think I'll get better. And I heard Seal mention a college game tonight, and we did release over 53.5 2 days ago. And it's still 53.5.
Oh, did you?
Which is fine, and we liked it, and I know another group that liked it, and they went out on it. So we decided to release that.
All right, you were ahead of the curve there. That's that Georgia State, Louisiana Lafayette game. All right, great stuff there. Sideburns. I want to get everyone back in here. We're going to do some NFL picks. Are you people ready for week? Can we believe we're already at week 9? Week 9.
I can't believe it's gone so fast.
Yeah,
I know. Well, we're just going to keep winning and giving people cash. Let's start here with a little NFL action. And Sideburns, I know we just let you go and you talked Baltimore. Is that going to be your main play for the week?
That'll be my play for the week. Baltimore, I'll put it out -6 now. I won't release it on my site until I see where the number goes.
All right, let's go with the master of the tea and crumpets, Jamie.
New York Giants +3.
Taking the Giants at home. The G-Men. Jamie, you know it's a very dangerous situation ever trusting the Giants. But that's an interesting spot for New York because they're at home. They're getting 3 points. They're playing a Raiders team that we don't know how long they can sustain what's going on without John Gruden. I was right about them the last couple of weeks. They got that bump. But I seem like that's kind of a sharp play this week, the Giants at home, Jamie.
I was going to give you Green Bay +7.5, but I plumped for the Giants instead.
All right, good stuff there. Let's go to Sealy McNeely. What do you got, NFL, sir?
I'm going with the San Diego Chargers. I would not call them the Los Angeles Chargers.
You must call them Los Angeles.
No, I'm old school. San Diego Chargers -1 against the Eagles.
All right, so he's going against Philly boys, Sideburns and Starsky. They're called the Los Angeles Chargers. Thank you very much, but I like that game as well. But for me, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. The Bengals -2.5 at home against the banged-up Browns team. I think Cincinnati's I know they had a rough situation last week, losing to the Jets, but they're going to recover, and they're going to win that game, maybe by 7 or more. So I go Cincinnati. Starsky goes Panthers +3.5. The Carolina Panthers are at home against the Patriots and Mac Jones. And then there's the rest of the picks. We want to let everyone know again that here's all the Hilton and Circa contest entry numbers. Always transparent about those. 3 entries in the Hilton contest. 3 in the Circa as well. Sideburns, what's the best entries doing right now?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the leaderboard this week. I was 3-2 last week. Should have been 4-1, but 3-2.
That's your assignment for next week. But I know that all the stuff is out there. I know a couple entries, including Thin Mints, are doing pretty well. So check those out on the Hilton page and on the Circa page. It is right there for you. All right, before we get out of here, friends, parting shots. We'll start with Sideburns. How about Penn State? How about that? We are Penn State.
Well, they're a 10-point favorite this week, so who knows what will happen.
I told
I'm going to say
plus the 18.5.
Yeah, you cashed on that one, right?
Oh yeah.
I will say that I thought going to the dentist was the most painful thing in the world, but today I went to the dermatologist and I had a fatty cyst on my back, and she squeezed the hell out of it. The shit flew out of my back across the room, she said.
Oh.
All right, that might be both the most disgusting and worst parting shot I've ever heard on the show.
I'm going to say the dermatologist is much more painful than the dentist. And Jamie, let's see you follow that one up 2 weeks in a row.
All right, thanks for that one, Sideburns. All right, Jamie, what do you got? You like cold water enemas?
I'm not going to disclose my medical files, I'm afraid. The one thing I will say to you, though, if you're an NFL wide receiver on a $16 million contract, hire a fucking driver.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just how many more times does this have to happen? It's ridiculous. I mean, God.
Jamie, I'm so glad you brought that up because we've talked about this on the show before. Maybe someone watching the first time doesn't know. I'm over 10 years sober, and I've dealt with people dying from overdoses, dying from drunk driving accidents. And you mentioned, hiring a driver, whether it's a Paris Hilton or a Lindsay Lohan or a lot of these athletes that have gotten DUIs, forgetting the guy's name in Miami that killed the guy. And obviously,
sure, just call an Uber or Lyft or whatever.
Jamie, it's so ridiculous. And
it's
yes, we've got an addiction.
It's bananas.
Yeah, we've got a problem in the.
It's beyond belief. If I had that much money, I wouldn't even bother driving to the shop around the corner. I'd hire somebody to take me. It's beyond belief. It really is. It's such a tragic. It's such a tragedy.
It is. Yeah. Listen, that woman didn't have to die. We've got an opioid problem. We've got an addiction issue around the country and around the world. Just know that, and this is the most important thing I want us to say today, that you're not alone, and there should be a stigma. You can reach out and get help. I try to help people all the time on the various shows that I do, but that should never happen. Never. In 156 miles an hour. I mean, just the guy ruined his life. Ruggs, 22 years old, ruined his life. All right, Sealy, give us some pearls of wisdom. And if you say anything political, hold on. Anything political, that happens. That happens.
My go of the week is Odell Beckham Jr.'s father. What an idiot. Complete idiot. He'll never play again for the Browns, and they don't need him. Odell Beckham Jr. is the most overpriced player in the league. He stinks. He can't get open, and his father complains that Baker Mayfield's not throwing him the ball. So now he hasn't practiced the last 2 days. They told him to go home. They're going to tell him to get lost next. He'll never play for the Browns again. The guy stinks. He's always hurt anyway. What a jerk. Go to the week. Odell Beckham Jr.'s father. Put out a 13-minute Instagram video.
I love it.
And by the way, everybody probably has driven a little tipsy in their lifetime by accident. And what's the first thing you do when you drive home? You make sure you don't speed so you don't get stopped by a cop. How do you go in a vet 156 miles an hour? Who, by the way, he crashed into the poor lady's car right in front of my friend's apartment in Vegas.
Yeah, and I lived in Vegas, and to go that fast on those roads is unbelievable because it wasn't like he was on I-15.
It's a 40-mile-an-hour road.
He wasn't on I-15. He was just on a little road.
He was on a little road. He wasn't on a highway. He wasn't on my friend lives right there. It's a normal street. How do you?
Yeah, it's a normal street. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Like you would think you was 40 miles an hour. You drive 35 not to get stopped. 156. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Out of control.
I don't know how he walked out of that car personally.
Either a Corvette's like plastic.
I mean, Jerome Brown died in a car similar like that.
Yep.
Well,
just amazing.
Let's hopefully hopefully we change the people's minds to not be stupid in the future on things like that. But what we always do is we give you smart things on this show. So once again, thanks so much for watching the Sports Edge powered by InSpin.com. For Sideburns, King JB, Sealy McNeely, who was pretty well behaved today. I'm Dan Leach for our great man Starsky. He'll be back next week as well. We love you. What's that, Sealy?
I said I could be bad. We're not really done yet, but I'll be good.
Yeah, if you're bad, that's what happens. You just leave. You leave the thing. All right, that's gonna do it for us this week. Keep winning, keep betting, keep believing in it. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep reaching for the stars, believe in the dream. I'm Dan Leach, the Squatch, for all our great people at InSpin.com and the Sports Edge. We love you. See you next week. Peace. Great job, Whizzes.